morning, everybody. Whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world, this is Coast to Coast. Got the Philly sports guy in the house. Herb is on the road. What's happening, man?
Hey, I got to start off with this right away just because it was such a big deal. Well, it's not a big deal. It's the beginning of the season, so it doesn't really matter. But the Phillies yesterday, uh, it's rare that I ever have to leave a game early.
Sure.
So I was not there in the stadium when they did this.
Okay.
And I am, and I literally, and the reason why I had to leave was because I had to edit a video that I needed to do on my computer. I couldn't do it on my phone for uh Fanatics Casino.
Mhm.
So there you go. Like you got to pay the bills somehow. And
Absolutely.
so I'm leaving early, I'm leaving, and literally there's a challenge at first base, and they win the challenge. And the next thing I know, there's a home run right
Mm.
here. And that's like, oh, oof. Yeah, that's no good. That's no bueno. Yeah, Washington's up. Like by the time I get back home, it's like 5-2. I'm like, okay, this is a loss. Out of nowhere, as I'm literally doing editing. Of course, I live above a bar. The bar starts cheering. Oh, did they tie it up? Let me take a look. Nothing's showing up yet. Nothing's showing up yet. It shows up. They tie it up. 10th inning. Crawford with the walk-off single scores the run, wins 6-5. I didn't get to see it. I mean, I got to see it via, like on television, but I had to make the money. And
Yeah.
here it is. We got our first come from behind walk-off win.
Yeah, that's not how the Mariners went down at all. They did a come from behind walk home loss. They they got a couple of runs there late, but it didn't matter. They drop they dropped 5-3 to the Yankees. That also has them losing that series. So the Mariners still looking for their first series win of the season. Granted, there's only been 2 series, but they start their first road trip of the year, headed down to Anaheim and take on the Angels. Their next 10 games are all divisional games. So mixing it up early here.
Well, and I mean, hey, listen, it's obviously it's tight. It's still beginning of the season. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys have played one more game. You guys have not had a day off, so you guys went
Yeah.
with the 4-game series and the opening series, which I think is really challenging.
Yeah, I mean, at least we tied that series, so I mean that was a bonus. Um, but yeah, I mean having you know 7 straight games is a little bit of a rough start, right? But that also means you're going to end up with some gaps later on. So
Right. And like in our division, the Miami Marlins, who have played Sister Mary of the Poor and Sister Mary of the Blind, to be able to get out to a 5-1 record is, you know, pretty outstanding. Hey, listen, they were able to beat literally Colorado and the White Sox.
I mean, at the end of the day, it goes in the win column. So you know, when we're talking September, you're not going to be thinking about who they beat in the first couple of weeks. You're going to be looking at, hey, those were wins.
Exactly. Well, and like I said, that as you said, where you guys haven't won your first series yet because you tied the first series because it was
Exactly.
a 4-game series. The Phillies did win their first series,
Yeah.
and because they won that series, they move up to outside the basement, and now they are tied with the Mets and the Nationals for third in the division.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Again, this is way too early to be talking about where we're at in the division.
Yeah, I was going to say standings do not matter 7 games into the year.
So, but Yeah, but yeah, like I said, and the Dodgers are stinking it up right now. They are, they won their first series. They came out strong, and then poof. So I'm sure Nick is like wondering what to do now. Like that, everything that he thought the Dodgers were all about now are just falling apart. And
Yep. And you're right, Nick. You got to play who's in front of you. Like that is part of it.
so, yeah, and listen, I think that that was the Guardians. So Cleveland's showing a lot of strength right there. Dodgers in LA, nonetheless.
I just like that it's that the Dodgers were so bad. You're 4-2. Calm down. Like it's not that serious.
Yeah, and the Giants, I tell you, the San Francisco Giants are having a challenge in general right now.
Mhm.
I mean, they've won a couple of games, but they don't hit the ball.
Yeah.
Every loss that they have, it's like 0-0-1. I think they scored one run again yesterday too. So the Braves. Listen, there's no Alabama here today.
Yeah,
So
you should be 6-0. Again, calm down. You're not gonna go undefeated. Like that's not how baseball works.
yeah, you should be, but you're blowing it. You're blowing it. What I tell you, the Dodgers ain't making the playoffs.
That is so ridiculous. Unless half the team gets hurt, there's no way they're missing the playoffs.
Well, and expect that. Listen, because the injuries are going to come, and when they come,
Sure.
it's going to get contagious. That's what happens in those types of locker rooms.
You got Pags over here with the voodoo doll just cursing the Dodgers.
Hey, listen, they did have a fantastic, like, the Emirates or it's whatever it is, the airline company,
Yep.
Emirates,
Yep.
did a fantastic, I guess, opening ceremony. Like they threw out the first pitch, where they were talking about like instead of doing commercials, they actually brought out 9 really hot stewardesses and, and did a whole, hey, yeah, we have 12 exits and we hold 56,000 people in the stadium. And, in case of turbulent gameplay, you can turn your rally cap on. Your cap can be used as a rally device where you can turn it inside out. Please, like with the mask and everything. It was kind of funny how they did that. And then they bring out Oral Hershiser to throw out the first pitch. And of course, he doesn't throw out the first pitch. He lets one of the girls throw it
Yeah, of course.
because that's what I would do.
Right? Like, of course, that's how that goes down.
Actually, I don't practice voodoo in the bar. That's like taboo. You don't speak religion in a bar.
That's fair.
He was sick
I
as
don't.
a
I don't.
dog. He
I don't speak
pitched sick as a
religion.
dog, or he was sick as a dog. That's the question.
Speak
So,
religion anywhere. So I'm not a religious person.
and voodoo is actually a religion. It's
And
not.
voodoo is actually a religion.
It's not magic.
See, I'd be better if it was magic.
So, anyways, but yeah, that's so that's what's starting with baseball.
You should certainly do it.
Here's the other thing is so that switching again, and we're going to switch quick today because there's a lot happening right now down in Arizona and Houston, and they are having conversations about 18 game play in the NFL.
I mean, it's coming. It's just what year does it actually happen, right? Like it's as soon as it went to 17, you kind of assumed 18 was going to be there. You're going to go to the two preseason games. You're going to get a second bye week. The season's going to end so that President's Day is the next day. So you actually have a holiday after the Super Bowl, which I don't know why that wasn't a thing anyway. So, I mean, it felt like soon as it went to 17, 18 was inevitable.
So there's some of the things that have been discussed in the NFL meetings. NFL owners on Tuesday approved a 1-year rule for the upcoming season that would allow the replay center in New York to correct clear and obvious mistakes made by on-field officials that
Yeah.
impact the game. So now that will only happen if there is a work stoppage. The new NFLPA executive director, J.C. Tretter, has urged the NFL to not bring in replacement officials.
Which is funny
listen,
because that did get approved. So the approval for them to be able to bring them in passed a few days ago. So, we could have the revival of the Fail Mary. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, even as a Seattle fan, though, that was awful. Like, it was the officiating through those first 4 or 5 games was just an absolute dumpster fire.
Well, and I listen, it's time to. Sports is a big business, very big business. And the fact that the NFL is, counting pennies about with the officials, is frustrating. That is a very frustrating, situation.
I like that they're spending dollars to save pennies. That's really the biggest part of this. It's like, why? What are you doing?
Isn't it time that these officials are full-time officials? In baseball, they're full-time officials. They are umpires. That's what they do for a living. They are an umpire. In the NFL, these guys are lawyers, and they also referee games. Like, you have way too much money. Every week, billions of dollars are being spent on gambling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you are now playing this, and you're taking a piece of it now.
Yep.
You are in bed with these casinos.
It's your main sponsors. Like, your main sponsors are DraftKings and FanDuel and BetMGM and, Caesars. And these are your main sponsors. So you can't be having these guys messing your gambling up, which is going to happen.
Right. And the truth of the matter is that realistically, it should be like, I feel like that some of that money should go to the referees. Like, that money should be referee based.
Sure.
Like, not that you want the casinos in control of the referees.
No,
you definitely don't want that to happen.
Absolutely not.
But they, the casinos really should be the ones that they should help sponsor. They want good referees. That's how this should be. I mean,
do they though? Like, I don't know that that's true, because they probably don't care if the line gets messed up.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Here's what they don't want. They don't want 75% of the public going one way and that team winning.
No, for sure.
And they definitely don't want them winning because of bad calls by bad referees.
No, they don't want to lose money by bad refs, but they'd be just fine winning money with bad refs.
Oh, of course they would. Hey, listen, it always goes one way and not the other way. And the truth of the matter is that you have those casinos, you have all those casinos that all they're doing is trying to steal your money. That's what they're doing. They're doing everything they can to steal your money. And then you have but then you have like Kalshi and those other ones that are not real casinos. They're betting odds on who's going to win, who's going to lose type situation, things of that nature. That the casinos are spending big money to try to close them down because they're not real casinos. That's not real gambling. That's like stock market stuff.
Exactly. That's how they're getting around it. I'm curious for the states like Washington State here. I'm curious how quickly they're going to be able to find a way to shut that down. Because I mean, it's technically trading a stock, sort of. It's trading futures, right? But it's on sports. So I'm curious. I mean, you can do it on whatever you want, but because there's the gambling element of it, I'm curious how much the state's lawyers are like, okay, how do we shut this down? Like, how do we find the loophole that makes this gambling? Because they're looking for it.
Well, that's that they're all looking for it. And for states that don't allow gambling, like Washington, like Texas, they are using those examples. And the states that do allow gambling, they're trying to find everything they can, and they are like making stuff up now.
Yeah.
To try to control it. And that's only because the casinos are spending money to make sure that they're the only ones that can steal your money.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, of course. And
I liked it better when we had sheets, circle numbers, give it to a bookie, just collect your $5 and say thank you for your donation, because you ain't ever going to get all 15 of these.
Yep. The original parlays where you're just donating cash. Yep.
Every once in a while, he's got to pay somebody out and be like, hey, you had a good week. Here's $300. What? I won 700. No, here's only 300. You know what I mean? Like,
remember all that money you owe me from all those other lost bets? Yeah.
So that is what it is. But anyways, that's what I feel like. I feel like
it's all in good fun.
Hey, listen, Herb. I want to make sure that you are driving safely and that you are not using your phone while driving.
Exactly.
Because that's all I need. I do not need for you to get into an accident. It's much better for me to be able to make fun of you in person than to try to do it right now while you're driving and causing accidents. I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's true for everybody. They don't steal it. You hand it over. You just have to understand that you're never going to see it again.
Exactly. The world's a much more colorful place with Alabama in it.
Specifically red.
Lots of red.
No, but for real though, be safe on that drive, man.
Absolutely. So, other than that, like the sports world right now is very, it's just like that time of year where there's not much happening. I mean, with basketball, I tell you, right now, I wish I was a lot more excited about the Sixers. And it's a personal thing. It's not, because they are doing really well right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know. We know, Frankie.
Just your sports takes. Let us know that is accurate.
Not only is Frankie money not going to casinos and going to dispensaries, and he pumps out the prizes. He's got lots of kids over there now, so it's dispensaries and diapers.
Yeah.
So, but it's like with basketball, it's been like the Sixers have been scoring like 150 points a game.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's things on the Eastern Conference that are interesting. I think that Western Conference final of the Spurs OKC is probably going to be your championship, and then whoever comes out of the East, catches an L. Like that's kind of the way this playoffs feels. And maybe that's why I'm not watching it as close as I otherwise would.
So I don't know that that's the case. I think that when I'm thinking about San Antonio,
Sure.
and I know that they're a really good team, and like I said, there's really no reason on why they should not be like the team that comes out of the West with OKC and in the conference finals. But as I'm looking at that, they have not been in the playoffs yet.
Oh, I think OKC ultimately goes back to the championship. Um, to your point, the Spurs are young, right?
Right.
It took OKC a few years to break through, and most young teams do, right? Like your first couple times into the playoffs, you're almost a one and done. That first year, you've never been there before. You're figuring it out. The second year, you make it through a series or two, but you can't quite get all the way through. And then, as long as you keep that nucleus together, that third year, you have a real shot.
I mean, I feel like that you could wind up seeing the Golden State Warriors, and it's going to depend on whether they can jump up a couple of spots. They have to get to 39 wins, or like right now the Clippers are at 39 in the 8th spot. You got to get to that 8th spot because you want to be the 7 seed, not the 8 seed.
Yeah.
Um,
Frankie was just, spreading lies is all.
that was April Fool's Day.
Yeah, but it was yesterday, so even that's not quite right.
So it's like you want to see if the Warriors can get up to that 7-8 spot,
Mhm.
which is they're 3 games behind right now, and there's only like 6 games left for them. I think
Yeah.
it's what's an 82 game season for
Yep.
them.
Yep.
So uh, I I don't know that they're going to be able to pull it off, but they're going to be the 10 seed. If they were able to get into that 7 spot and play San Antonio, that would be the worst thing in the world for San Antonio.
Yeah.
Going as a seasoned team that's going, and I don't know that San Antonio would get out of that first round. Again,
Entirely possible. Entirely
just
possible.
because of the way that those teams are built, I just feel like that the Warriors aren't playing to do anything except get into the playoffs. And they're definitely in now because everybody else, the Pelicans have been eliminated and they were
Yep.
the closest team. So the top 10 are set already. They just haven't gotten their full seeding yet.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. The only team that I really see in the Eastern that has a shot at this thing would be Detroit. Like they picked the right time to be playing their best ball. You could say the Knicks because again they're playing out of their mind at the moment, but the Knicks are the Knicks, and you just assume that soon as the playoff come, they're like, hey, you know what? We should go home.
well, and not only that though, but they are going to have to go up against either the Sixers,
Yep.
which actually right now are playing out of their mind.
Yep.
Or it's like they could drop down a little bit and have to play maybe Cleveland. Atlanta, I'm not afraid of. It's the Sixers right now are the 6th seed. They just jumped
Yep.
over Toronto, to get the 6th seed. Uh, I don't want to be in the playing games. I think that that's tough. And if
Yep.
everything was to end right now, we would get the Knicks in the first series, and that's a tough
Mhm.
out for the Sixers or for the Knicks. The Sixers are
Oh, for
not the
sure.
team you want to play, especially with Paul George rested.
Yeah.
He's got all that rest. Now he's hitting 40 points a game, and
I
he
mean,
looks like a new player.
if the Sixers and the Knicks go into the playoffs playing the way they are playing each other, that'll be a fantastic series.
I agree.
Like that would be a fun watch.
So, and I'm looking to see if the Sixers can move up to the number 5. Again, Atlanta's got 44 wins and a game in hand. So I don't know. Uh, Actually, Sixers have the game in hand. So it's possible that, we could get that fifth seed. If we get the fifth seed and have to go up against Cleveland, that's a tough out for the Sixers. Cleveland's got better defense.
Yeah.
So they would really have to be making sure they can hit all the 3-pointers they can and such. Uh, but VJ Edgecombe and Maxi and Bede actually playing okay, and Paul George playing. It amazed me that the Sixers, with, like I said, the sixth best record in the division. I know that's tough for me to say.
Hey, it's been a while since we've had a words are hard moment.
Yeah, exactly. And but are listed as the fourth best team by to come out of the East. That's speaking. That's speaking some volume. That they don't expect them to, because it's like the difference that you have the Pistons, the Celtics. The Celtics are the number one to come out. I think that they are plus 250. I think you have Detroit at plus 400, and you have the Knicks at plus 650 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Sixers at like a plus 1800. Then you have the Cavaliers at 2,200, and so on, and say, the Hawks are even more, and then you have those other teams that are like plus 10,000. But that's again, to think that you're better than Cleveland, or that the odds, people are saying that we're better than Cleveland and we're better than Atlanta and such like that.
Mm-hmm.
They make the odds because they're supposed to know something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cleveland, they just feel like a fool's gold kind of thing. Like they just don't seem like a team that's going to go deep, but anything can happen once you get in the dance, right? So
right, defense wins championships, and they have to play a lot of it.
Well, that's the problem, right? Like if your defense is your primary thing, that's tough, right?
Yes.
Like you can have the best defense in the world, but if the offense isn't there, you're the Jets.
So, exactly. And that's going to be tough. But as I look at that, I mean, if I'm Cleveland and I'm the coach of Cleveland, I am making sure my guys can drive the lane. That's what I'm doing. I want to take high percentage layup shots. That's what I'm doing. I am not trying to throw the ball in from 3 points. If you are playing defense and you are guarding them and you have them score once every 3 times going down the court from 3-point line, you have to make sure that you are scoring 2 out of every 3 times from underneath the basket.
Yeah.
That's a winning combination as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the math works for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, a team built like Cleveland, that's where the lack of mid-range shooting really shows up. Just across the league in general, right? Like it's just an element of the game that isn't there so much anymore. But when you're a team that the offense is struggling, mid-range shooting was really that thing that helped, right? That's a high percentage shot, less likely to get blocked, room to move. I don't know why teams don't embrace that mid-range more than they do, right? Like there's a couple of teams that do it okay, but for the most part, it's either you're trying to dunk it or you're launching it from 28 feet.
Well, and not only that, like I was never a fan of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay.
The skyhook, though, was amazing. Like he hit it most of the time.
And you couldn't defend it.
Right, because you're on this side of him. He's using his hand, and over here he's like, yeah, there we go. In the hole. There we go. In the hole. in the hole, and that's how he would score 30 points a night. Just about, he would back you down, get close, skyhook.
Well, yeah, because the only way to defend that is to foul.
Right.
Because you have to go through the player to get there. Like it, yeah.
Yeah, and then the fadeaway jumper. That's, I mean, really, that was like really Michael Jordan was the one that really put that into perspective there.
Yeah,
You could
nobody
say
did that.
Larry Bird. You could say Larry Bird did that really well too, but
Mhm.
Larry Bird had so many aspects of his game that was just amazing.
I mean, the accuracy from the 3-point range. Like, imagine, like he would have been Steph if he played in this era. Like he almost couldn't miss from 3 half the time.
Right. I mean, he went and did the whole thing. Like, I think he's still has the most consecutive free throws made.
Oh, I
Somewhere
wouldn't.
in the neighborhood of like 92 or 93 free throws. Um, or the when we're talking about Bird, you think of the one game he says, you know what, I'm just going to shoot everything in the first 3 quarters of this game left-handed.
Exactly. How messed up is that? That was like Jordan when he closed his eyes to make a free throw. You're like, come on, man. Like, no, I remember there was a Larry Bird commercial, and they needed him to miss a 3. And while they were filming, they're like, okay, this is the one you got to miss. And then he still drained it. And he's like, I was trying to miss.
That's that stuff's kind of funny.
Absolutely. But yeah, I
But
mean, you think about some of those guys in this era where he was as accurate as he was then. In fact, he might have even had a longer career because he wouldn't have got beat up quite as much. Wouldn't have had all the back issues.
who, Bird?
Yeah.
Well, he said he retired because Magic retired.
No, I just mean if
It's
they
just
were
he
playing in
lost the
this
fun.
era.
Yeah, I mean, playing this era would have been a lot different because there was a lot less hacking. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Detroit put an end to that.
Mhm.
Detroit was the team that became you know the Broad Street bullies of basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they won some championships doing it, so it's not like
Oh, it worked.
it was within the rules,
Worked.
and you
Yeah.
know,
The other team that you knew you were going to get beat up by was the Knicks back then. Like they would come in and beat you up a bit too. Like it'd be a very physical game. It wasn't Detroit's level, but it was going to be a very physical game.
right. Well, the Sixers also had that too. That was really like that whole era. Once you started to do that, when you think about like it was Barkley and Rick Mahorn and things
Mhm.
like that, where those guys are doing that. Um, Not as much when it went to Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Clarence Witherspoon was, uh, he was a good player, but it just no, no, no. Like it just seemed like he was always on the Sixers, and that our coach seemed to like him at the time, and it was just like, come on, he's
Mhm.
so bad. He's just so bad. We would have one good game every 7,
Yeah.
but that is what it is. That's why basketball has had a very unique history. And this
Mhm.
history, I can't wait till they start going back to figuring out that, listen, sometimes it's easier to make 2 points rather than 3.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a little bit of a resurgence of that mid-range shooting just because when you watch these teams that the 3 ball isn't hitting and then they just keep jacking them up anyway and then they lose by 35 points. I'm surprised we haven't seen an adjustment from some of these teams.
Well, and that makes me wonder, why is it that like that? I feel like that should come from the G League. And not that the G League is on the same par as the NBA, but if you aren't making it in the NBA, that's likely because your shot from beyond the arc is not there.
Sure.
So you better be making shots underneath the arc.
Yeah.
Like you want to be, you know, to the left of the free throw line, to the right of the free throw line, in that open space right there, because it's
Exactly.
always open anymore because everybody's out by the perimeter.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Nobody
if
breaks
you're
down and defends.
Yeah, so you could get right there, and the turnaround jumper. The
Yep.
turnaround jumper from that spot should be automatic. Somebody should learn that, get that figured out, and bang done, bang done, bang done. You
Yep.
start hitting that at a 60% clip. Guess what? If you do that long enough, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I was going to say you're in an MVP race if you're hitting it at 60%.
Right.
I mean, straight up.
Even at 50%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I feel like that's it's coming. I know that it's coming. It's like we talk about this often enough now, where there's going to be a team that's going to play small ball, because that's what it's looked at as now. It's
Yeah.
like small ball in baseball. You have to
Well, there you
trust
go.
me. Trust me, I feel you. I feel you. But
it is a tough to watch product if you are our age and you grew up in some I view better eras of the sport. Now the accuracy shooting isn't as good back then as it is today, but they also played defense and the scores weren't 150 apiece.
right. Yeah, to score 150 points in a game is like, no, I want to see a game like 96, 92.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a game. That shows like, hey, you're working the clock. It's 24-second clock. You're finally getting the open shot. It's like, I want to see people drive and put the layup, not kick it back out again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that also means that some defense was being played, and there were going to be steals and blocks, and you're like, oh, okay, like a complete basketball game. Awesome. What you see now is some layups and people jacking up threes, and the funny thing is then they turn around and be like, oh, we're load managing, we're tired, we can't do 2 days in a row, not back to back, like a double header in baseball or something, just like playing 2 days in a row. It's like, you guys don't even get back on defense, and you don't drive to the basket. You stop at the arc. You're using way less energy than they used to.
And I wonder, like, obviously, I think one of the greatest Sixers to ever play was Allen Iverson, and there's a lot of behind that. But imagine if he was in this league. Like,
Yeah,
he was getting hacked all of the time as a
for sure.
6-foot guard, just driving the lane, and he would get crushed every time he would do it. They wouldn't even know how to stop that right now.
Oh no.
Like, the drive in the lane is almost non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
That's what makes and I saw something the other day on LeBron James, where anytime that there's an open look, he wants to score the basket.
Yes.
And if he doesn't score that basket, he gets on his teammates about it.
Yeah, in
It's
fact,
like
there's
if
some
they
pretty good video of it.
yeah, if if they score the basket instead of giving it up to him, they trade him away. And it's like, I can't wait for you to retire. It's time for you to retire, in fact. I know you're waiting for your other son to come out because Bronny just couldn't cut it. You know what I mean? So you're going to have the Lakers get this team, get your other son, and he's actually a better basketball player in the grand scheme of things. But
For sure. It's funny though,
I don't
because
know.
they do keep trying to force feed you Bronny, because they're like, look at the number he's putting up in the G League. It's like, okay, who cares? Like, putting up big numbers in the G League, just we've seen it not translate to the NBA. So like, let's calm down.
Hey, you know what though? Good for Bronny. I'm glad that Bronny is making all that money to play, in a lesser
Okay.
league.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I'm not mad at it. Hey, good on him. But at the same time, we probably don't hear about how he's dominating the G League on random days. Because again, who cares?
Yeah, and to be honest, I just don't listen. I don't hear that at all.
I just see it pop up on my feed every now and then. They're like, Bronny had this breakout game, and then you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I mean, like the numbers are decent, but you know, and then we see you get to the, you know, go back into an NBA game and you put up 6 points and, you know, a couple of us like it's obviously not translating one to the other. So what are we talking about?
Right. And well, if there was ever any money that somebody wanted to make yesterday in hockey, I'm switching it up now because I'm tired of talking basketball.
No,
In
no, no. It's
hockey,
good. We got hockey to talk about because it's, you know, the race is getting close.
the Canucks beat the Avalanche. Never have I seen like the Avalanche was a minus 500 to win the game.
Mm,
The Canucks beat them
okay.
8-6.
Wow,
It was
that's a lot of scoring.
it was a lot of scoring. I got to imagine that you know, and it's funny because the first goalie let up 6 goals in 19 shots, and he got a no decision. It was the other goalie that they brought in. He lets up 1 goal, and you know, and he
And
gets
he
the
gets the,
loss.
oh, that's messed up.
And you know, I say that there's the kiss of death. It is definitely a kiss of death when you get uh, the President's Cup, and they're going to
Sure.
get the President's Cup. It's happening. It's yeah,
Oh, no
they are.
question. Yeah.
I don't think anybody's even close anymore. It's just literally,
Dallas is the
yeah.
only one that's even in striking distance. Let's see, the Stars,
Well, the
uh,
Stars are actually tied
Hurricanes,
with and the
and
Sabers,
Sabres. Yeah. Yeah, there's
but
3 teams with 100 points, and then, but I mean, again, there's not even enough time left for you
right.
to get anybody. So, like Colorado would have to lose the rest, and one of those teams would have to win out, and then you'd be tied. so, yeah, Colorado is definitely going to win this thing.
And which usually means that that is a one and done. Yeah, that you when you win all of those games, and right now they would be playing against the Kings, but if you know,
Yeah.
it's possible that they could be playing the Kraken or the Sharks or the Predators or the Jets. You know what I mean? They could play any one of those because they're all very close there. The Kraken being 75 points out, even the Blues at 74 points has a chance. The Flyers have no chance. I'm keep looking at this, and it's like they have to get over the Blue Jackets, and they have to get more points than the Blue Jackets and the Senators and the Red Wings. They can't be tied in points. If they're tied in points, they're out. So we played the Red Wings today, and we need to get that W, and we need to not give them a point at all. Like we need to get the actual full, like a regulation win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have the Mammoth tonight, and I mean, and it has to be a win. Like it basically at this point, if Seattle wants a real shot at this, they basically gotta win moving forward. Um, Even collecting 1 point at a time won't quite get you there. There's not enough games left, so they need to really start getting in the win column, and you still need help, right? Like you need these other guys to lose. So, but yeah, and it's not like Mammoth's a bad team. So when you know, the good thing is it's at least a home game, so I'll be headed to the stadium here, you know, kind of midday-ish. But you know, it's they're flirting with the end of the line here. Like they
Yeah.
got to just really rattle wins off.
Right. And it doesn't matter how you get them. because
No,
you actually have more regulation wins. So you just need the points. You need to get the points.
exactly. Well, and that's why I say, like, you can't even do the overtime loss situation. Like, you can't be getting them one point at a time. There's
Right.
there's not enough time left, and the odds of all of those guys losing every game moving forward is pretty low. So, you got to get those 2 point wins.
Yeah, I think tonight's a big one because you got the Jets playing the Stars. They're just above you.
Mhm.
You have the Sharks playing the Maple Leafs. I feel like that's a loss. Uh, you have the Vegas Knights. It's not really a thing. The Predators and the Kings. That's actually a really important game for you guys because
Yes,
you're not sure who you want there. But what you don't want is a 3-point game.
for sure. I mean, you actually need Nashville to win that, right? Because if the Kings do, that's 2 points, right? Nashville is a point behind them, so then your total number is still only one more than what it was. So
Right.
you kind of need Nashville to win that one.
But you need it to not go into overtime.
Correct.
That
Yeah,
cannot be a 3-point game.
absolutely.
You know, in our case here, like you said, the Red Wings are going. The Penguins are going up against the Lightning, which kind of works for us. The Islanders have off tonight, which is frustrating because we go play them tomorrow night
Mm,
up in the island, and it's back-to-back games. The Flyers have been doing better. Like I said, they were on an 8-game road win streak until they lost to Washington.
yeah.
It was the biggest in the franchise's career, winning 8 straight games.
Mhm.
I You got to start by beating the Red Wings. You got to start by beating the Red Wings. We have to beat the Red Wings tonight.
Well, yeah, because
If
you guys are tied at points. So I mean,
Yeah, if we don't beat the Red Wings tonight, like I said, I'm going to try to get up to the island tomorrow, but I'm only going to try to get up there if we win tonight.
well,
If
I
we
mean
don't
that
win
makes
tonight,
yeah.
yeah, if we don't win tonight, there's no chance. There's no sense in me going up there because it puts us too far behind. Even 1 point doesn't do it. We have to take these wins.
No, I mean you guys are in the exact same spot that the Kraken are. Is you basically have to be perfect moving forward. Like you
Yeah,
got to win, and you got to win in regulation.
correct. And like I said, the Blue Jackets playing Carolina Hurricanes
Mhm.
in Carolina is helpful. You know what? The problem with Atlanta, the problem with hockey in Atlanta, and I remember the Atlanta Flames
Mhm.
before they moved to Calgary, and there was a hockey team there before. Uh, you're the only person there in Atlanta that likes hockey. That's the problem. I mean, I wish that there were a lot more people like you. And just Atlanta is not a sports town. It's a soccer town. Atlanta sells out soccer games. That's what they do. The soccer team could stink to high heaven, and they will sell out that stadium.
College football.
Well, yes, college football will also sell out that stadium. That being said, it will not sell out for the Falcons.
Yeah.
It won't sell out for the Hawks. It doesn't sell out for the Braves.
Mhm.
Although the Braves, you know what, they did a really good job with that stadium, and it does bring people in because it's a whole metroplex of
Oh,
things
gotcha.
going on there. So that's why they do get good attendance because they put it in a spot where there's not much else to do and it's a good day out. I mean, it really is a gorgeous stadium down there.
Mhm.
I've been there a few times to Truist Field, but that's the problem. That's the problem with the hockey in Atlanta. It's I make fun of Alabama saying that there's no ice down there,
Mm.
and there's really no ice in Atlanta either. That's a
Yeah.
real statement. Unfortunately, I'd love for hockey to be there. I think that it would, you know, I feel like it should do better there, but it doesn't. You know, You know, interestingly enough, it's why Nashville doesn't have baseball. You know, Nashville has just now starting to get like some of that recognition, you
Mhm.
know, for all right, we got a football team now. We have a hockey team. Uh but you know, Dombrowski, the GM for the Phillies, has gone. Trust me, I get it. But you know what? The Lightning get a lot of people to go.
They
The
do.
Panthers get a lot of people to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the difference. That's why those two Florida hockey teams, right? There should be no ice in Florida. Why would there ever be ice in Florida? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But at one point, Tampa Bay is a sports town.
Yeah.
It's a big sports town. And it's a sports town because half the people from New York and half the people from Philadelphia went down there and live down there now. And they are sports people, and their next generation trained their children to be sports people.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. That's why, I mean, you look at that. The Yankees and the Phillies own Tampa Bay. They do. It's
Right.
Clearwater and the Yankees. And that's what happened. Everybody went to go retire down there, and they were all sports fans. They were Philadelphia sports fans and New York sports fans, and now their kids are Tampa Bay fans. That's why hockey works in Tampa Bay. Now, Florida and Miami, it's a little different, but I tell you, it's hot in Miami, and when you go into and the arena to watch a hockey game, it's chilly. So you're happy about that. You're
Yeah.
good. You're in air conditioning, and that's why it works down there too.
See, I mean, Atlanta could be fine. I mean, just because there's not ice doesn't mean it can't happen. Jamaica had a bobsled team; like it'll be fine. Like,
Yeah, I like I said, they've tried it twice. They've tried it
yeah,
twice, and it's not going in. And it's different than Seattle. Like Seattle,
yeah,
you know, they chose to move the team, and they were still getting. You know, it was the arena that caused them move, right? It wasn't the
yeah,
fact that they weren't getting the people in there. They were selling out the arena, but the arena was only what 12,000 people,
yeah. And
something like that.
it
It was
was
like
old.
13.5.
Yeah, and the city was really fighting redoing the stadium, and ownership was like, okay, and we're out. Um, so yeah, it had nothing to do with attendance because the attendance here in Seattle was not a problem.
Right. You know, and even those guys are still revered up there. You know, it's like all the different things that Kemp has gone through in his legal life, you know,
Mhm.
and he is still very beloved up there. You know,
Yeah.
Gary Payton, same situation, right? He was a Sonic for a while. He's loved up there.
Yep.
So,
In fact, both those guys are here in the Seattle area a lot. Like they make appearances all the time. Detlef Shrimp also, um, you know, loved here in Seattle, and it comes to the Northwest a ton.
and that's, I knew like there was a whole different reason on why they got moved.
Mm. In fact, even Coach Carl, he posts on Twitter about needing the return of the Sonics all the time for the last like few years. So
And I'm hearing, I heard something very, very funny that it's possible Seattle's biggest competition is Cincinnati. Cincinnati
so
basketball.
we don't have to worry about that anymore. So the vote that went through earlier in the month basically made it so that the only two cities being explored are Seattle and Vegas. So though the expansion is going to be, if it goes through, it'll only be available to those two cities. So the step that they're taking right now is looking for potential buyers, and then the official vote on whether or not to expand is going to happen later in the year. But they gotta have bids in and all of that.
Oh, I thought I heard something about Cincinnati being a dark horse.
No,
That
so that
there's some type of verbiage in the way that they did that allows Cincinnati to still work on it.
So that was the case prior to this last vote.
Okay.
So this vote that just happened narrowed it down to these two specific cities. Prior to that, there were 5 possibilities going into that voting period. And so these are the only 2 markets that they are actually looking at for this particular expansion.
Got you. Okay. I don't know if you can't expand it to 36 teams, but
no,
I
but
guess they can
you
do
might
anything.
move a team or some. I mean, the NBA is not shy about moving teams. So, you know, if they have a market that they're like, hey, we know your fans like your team, but we're going to take them anyway. You know, that's an NBA thing to do.
Yeah, I get that.
So, yeah. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to, you know, kind of hearing what these offers might potentially be, but going to be roughly that 7 billion mark. So got to have some deep pockets.
$7 billion. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So 7 billion, and you know, if you decide that you want to have to build a stadium.
Well, I think that is part of why these 2 cities were locked in, is both of them have existing stadiums that are acceptable to the NBA, right? Because we had to rebuild ours for the NHL to come here. Vegas built theirs for the NHL to go there. And so those would be the stadiums. So they're already in place. And whereas some of the other cities that were lobbying, we're still going to have to build a stadium and stuff like that. So I think the 2 markets are proven markets and the stadiums are in place. I think that's why they were like, these are the 2 cities that we are focused on now.
Got you. You know, it's amazing that Kansas City, out of all the, like, doesn't have enough. You know, you would think that they would have more. You know, like that. And I know they have an arena, but I guess it's not big enough. It's only probably 13 or 14,000 people.
Oh,
And that's
so it's
what you
like a
need.
junior hockey stadium.
It's got to be. I mean, I assume that that's what it is. That they probably have G League basketball and things like that, or, you know, I guess, you know, I don't know. I've never been in that stadium for that, like that arena.
Yeah.
I know where it's at. It's literally right across from Kansas City Live. You know, it's literally right across the street from there, but I've not seen anything happening there. So,
I mean, they're letting the Chiefs move across state lines. So,
which I find is really funny, because that area was really a good spot.
Mhm.
They had both stadiums right there. It was kind of like in Philadelphia where they have everything all in one spot. So,
and then before we get out of here, one interesting note: WNBA, speaking, you know, in these arenas, their expansion draft starts tomorrow. So this crazy timetable kicks off tomorrow. You know, I think it's tomorrow morning, West Coast time. So, you know, that'll be interesting to see. And then Major League Rugby regular season also kicks off tomorrow. So it's this is going to be a busy week. So I'm going to be in the stadium tonight for the Kraken, in the stadium tomorrow for rugby, and then at the racetrack for the second weekend of their opening weekend. So it's running nonstop.
love it. Sports doesn't sleep, and neither do we.
that is accurate. That being said, we do got to get out of here. If you're listening on the radio 97.3, be sure to stay tuned for some smooth jazz headed your way. Otherwise, if you're listening on every other platform, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. Otherwise, see y'all tomorrow.
Peace.